Good morning. Happy Friday. Do we have a show for you? Outside markets are in a free fall, and we'll explain that. It's affecting things like cattle. I would actually say it's giving grains a boost. Funds are a record short in grains, and if funds are looking for money, because Nikkei had its worst 2 days since Black Monday, 1987. Most of you watching that weren't even alive then, all you youngsters out there. We're having markets move, we're having grains up, we're having cattle down. Huge, huge moves in the stock market. We have Intel down a large amount. We're looking for reasons why the market could rally in grains, and maybe we found it. Maybe there'll be a massive unwind of many things. Something interesting happened the other night, and maybe you don't understand it. If not, go ahead, give us a call, text us, email us, whatever you want to do. In Japan, they actually raised rates. They raised rates a quarter, and the rest of the world's lowering or talking about lowering. Europe, the EU, the United States. We don't even talk about South America because they got rampant inflation. They're a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But with that, let's look at prices. We'll go over them. It's going to be a long show. We welcome questions, comments, peanut gallery. Go ahead and send the show to a friend. It's free. Text it, email it, retweet it, whatever you want to do. Let's go to LaSalle Street and look at the markets. Board of Trade corn, D's corn up 4. No soybeans up 14. That feels good saying that. Meal up. Oil down just a little bit. Board of Trade wheat up 4. KC wheat up 3. Hard red spring up 8. Nice to see that. And we see cattle market down 150. That's going to be interesting. That's in the August. Feeder cattle down 410. Hogs down 20. Let's take it to Wall Street. Wall Street's got some interesting stuff going on. Gold approaching all-time highs. If it didn't touch it again, I'll have to double check that. But I got gold up 35. Let me see. I'm looking at the wrong month on that gold. I just want to double check that. I don't want to give you a bad quote here. I got D's gold at 25.13 up 33. We got some SEP silver up 44. Now, this is where it gets interesting. 2-year, 5-year, 10-year, 30-year note. The bond markets are exploding. I'll have charts up here and show you all that, but the bond market absolutely exploding. When I say bond market exploding, that means yields are tumbling. 10-year just hit 3.85. It just hit 4.0 the other day. We had an unemployment number. There's a few more people unemployed than before, and we're seeing all types of shakeups here in the not just the ag industry, but around the country. As we actually, for the first time since COVID, are having layoffs. There were massive layoffs during COVID 4 years ago, and then all that money hit the economy, and we had a big hiring spur. But we are definitely out of that phase. Taking a look at crude oil, down 230, being affected by that stock market. Natural gas trading 2,000 at 44. This is where it gets interesting, folks. Dow Jones down 400. NASDAQ down 400. That was down 500 yesterday. S&P down 90. Bitcoin definitely being affected here. Let me update that as we switch calendar months here in Bitcoin. Bitcoin up 1,800, little flight to quality here in Bitcoin and gold. Dr. Copper up. That surprises me to see copper up with the outside markets doing it as bad as they do. Are we witnessing some form of a crash? I don't know. We'll see. Let's bring him in, Connor B. See what he says. He knows all the answers. This stuff's easy. That's why we live stream every day, right? That's why we have day jobs, right?
Absolutely. Hey, I saw Joe sigh when you said it's going to be a long show, but
It's all
let's
right.
jump.
He'll get his nap in. Hey,
Well, let's jump right
as
into
we speak, corn up 5. That just feels fun to say. That's wonderful.
That feels great. Beans up 13. Good close of the week, right? The hope is that the lows are in, right? Not this Monday. Next Monday is going to be that big, or it's going to be a USDA report, but it could be a market mover. I know I've got it on my calendar. Let's jump into it, Tom.
Monday's the USDA report?
Yeah, not this Monday, next Monday, right? The 12th. Yeah, Monday.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And you know, as Connor likes to just put these reports whenever the heck he wants, he doesn't care. He's like, what?
I want to say the 13th. I got the June one. I always wanted to say the 30th. It was the 28th. I always think this one's the 13th. It's the 12th. I'm getting there, Tommy.
We'll get it.
I'll get it right next year.
And there's so many things happening in the outside markets and weather that I would say with prices this low, we're grasping at straws to think it's going to be a big move. And in some ways, I could see how it's a big move to the downside and is terribly disappointing. But I will say this, and I'm really confident in this. We know the bear news. like when you see FC Stone come out with numbers, when you see people and you know what? Full credit to Arlen. Last year, the internet sphere, the Twitter sphere, you say it best. If the way Connor says it, if I go on the internet and say I love bananas, the whole internet will say, "What do you have against apples?" And is that how you say it, Connor B? Is that
Yeah, dead on, dead on.
that
I love that saying, right? If you say you love bananas, there's going to be people in the comments saying, "Well, what you hate apples?"
right? And if I had 1, 2, 5, $10 million worth of crop out there, and some clowns from Valparaiso, Indiana, and Assumption, Illinois, were talking about how it can only go down, I, I'd be upset too. And I can tell you,
Sure.
after watching gold and other markets, these markets can move. I mean, we have some major currency things happening. We have some things happening. When you talk about the risk of corn right now, I am very comfortable saying corn could go up $1. That would be amazing. And I think corn could go down $1. But from a simpler standpoint, and we can look at some options here in a little bit, it'd be a great day to do it because Dees corn's at $4. So it'd be wonderful to look at a Dees 450 call and a Dees 450 put. So remind me
Yep.
about that in a little bit. But Dees
Let's
is
do
at
it.
$4, and we have these options will expire in November. Your risk is both sides because I do know people are trading 350 puts, and I do know people are trading 450 calls. And easy. Well, yesterday Brady looked at the straddle, and it looked like corn was priced in via the options that it could move like, what was it, 32, 37 cents either way, looking
Mhm.
at those markets, right?
Yeah. And speaking of bearish news popped in, you mentioned the StoneX survey, right? We got that. It's survey season. This is kind of the first one I think I've seen, Tommy, is that, but a little bit bigger yield. I don't think they adjusted acreage really. They're really in line with the USDA, but a little bit higher yield corn and beans both. See that bit, that 182.3. They got my home state, Illinois, at a 210, and Indiana at a 205. So nothing we don't know. Crop looks big. StoneX survey confirms that.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I'm looking at Twitter while we're doing this. Well, us young kids call it X
Multitasking.
now. But my friend, you guys got to follow this guy. His name's Billy Ray, and he's a cattle trader, and he trades very active, and he's very funny. And what he said probably wasn't going to make people too happy, but old Billy Ray, this is what he said about feeders. Feeders dishing out the street justice today. Um, this guy trades big and active, and he's one of the few people to put it out there on Twitter. He trades his own independent account. So interesting story about Billy Ray. I was in Florida a few years ago, and I had sent him a message, and he just happened to be driving where I was, and he stopped by, and I met him and his wife, and just a good person. We need to do a little bit more of that, and we're going to be able to do that. I will be going out to Farm Progress. Farm Progress, we have that office out Dames. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do the live stream every day from our own advanced trading office and then go over to the show and talk to people. We still have to work out those details on where we're going to be based out. I hope, Connor,
Yep.
you can make it out there. I know Dave
I plan to
Leckenberg
be.
will be out there, and Joe. Yeah, we'll see. It's always fun to talk about going live from someone's booth, but we could also do it from the comfort of our office and then just drive over there and not have to shift all the equipment
Sure.
and stuff.
Yep. We'll figure
But
that out.
yeah, we'll get that worked out. We have all types of great partners we're
Yep.
associated with.
Hey,
But
got another grain headline
yeah, let's
for
do
you.
it.
Let's look at the flash sales, right? We continue to see them. Private exporters reported sales 202,000 metric ton of soybeans for delivery to China, 24-25 marketing year, right?
China.
That's been the story. China, we need them to come to the table. We need them to buy U.S. soybeans. They have not so far. Let's hope they're going to load up on the back end. Good to see.
Well, they're on sale, for love of God. China can't produce a 950 bean, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Right. Speaking of on sale, I know I'm all over the place today, and I didn't take my medicine or something, but I had been looking at campers, like pull behind campers, this
Sure.
camper van, just looking, right? It's free to
Yeah.
go to Camp World. And I had looked 2 years ago, and these van campers that were extremely high priced. Just, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's a pull behind camper, a C-class camper, A, B, C, D, all the alphabet soup, these things are on sale. Like, they might as well say, just give me a bid, because something's changed in the economy, and you see it. And we talked about this a few weeks ago. In the movie The Big Short, they talk about how the first people to stop making their payments were folks who lived in trailer homes, and you're like, well, that's because they're poor. Well, yeah, but it starts at the very bottom, and then we go up the ladder, right? So we know the rich are always going to be rich, unless we have like a 1929 type of event and soup kitchens and stuff. The rich are always going to be rich, but when the poor start to struggle, and very dependent on government aid and everything else, but with inflation, the kicker here was the government didn't give people that much more money. So I know people in Medicare and other benefits were given more money with inflation, didn't make up nearly as much as the price of goods and services and just life expanded. And so you're seeing that now. The canary in the coal mine in ag was John Deere. And then yesterday we had, oh, help me out, the Kinsey planners, right? Great
Yeah,
company. Driving down the highway, you see it. They got that planner up and down. It's a real problem.
yeah. Here,
And then you see, yes, sir.
keep going, keep going.
Well, I live in Northwest Indiana, and just to Northeast Indiana is the camper capital of the world. I mean, every single camper, not every, that's a little dramatic. A huge amount of campers are made in Northern Indiana in Elkhart. And there was a time when I drove up to North Dakota and I got through Minnesota, and there's kind of like this campers row where you see them on the left and right, left and right. I remember driving by this massive, massive parking lot on the summer of COVID, and they had 5 campers left. Okay. 5,
Mhm.
10 campers. Some of them were used, looked pretty like Scooby Doo-ish, wasn't good. I drove by that the other day. There was like 500 campers. That's just what's at the camping store. That's not what's sitting here in Elkhart, Indiana. And so if I drove to Elkhart, Indiana, they couldn't produce these things fast enough. And so what I'm saying is, and this is a very important to this show, and we'll go along today, is that whether it's a camper, a Polaris, we can go through all the toys, a boat, a this, a that, those are nice to haves and need to haves. And you may want a new planner. It'd be nice to have, but you have a planner. And so you do need a planner, but it doesn't mean you need a brand new one. And it's
Yeah,
starting with the small stuff, whether it be the $20,000 tow behind camper, the Gator, the Range Rover, the Polaris, the toys. I imagine there's enough toys out in the ag community. And I tell you, I talked about this a few weeks ago. I'm friends with a lot of farmers on my Facebook page, and I have seen so many young farmers put stuff for sale on Facebook Marketplace. They're actually walking through their yard and saying, I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that, and getting
sure.
rid of stuff. And it's really affecting things. What were you
And
going to say?
well, we've been talking about if an ag company has earnings. When it comes out, we've been talking about it. But for anyone that hasn't been paying attention, I made a quick write up of all these companies. Ready? You mentioned some of them, Tommy. John Deere laid off a couple thousand employees. Sales are down 25%. Bunge missed earnings. ADM missed earnings in a big way. Kinsey, right, laid off 195 employees. That's 25% of the workforce. Agco missed earnings as well, sold off their grain and protein business, right? GSI's in Assumption, Illinois. That just sold last week. Polaris, you mentioned that one. Sales, I think
GSI Benz?
GSI Benz were owned by Agco. Agco sold their entire grain and protein business, sold it off.
Well, thank you. I learned
Yeah.
something today.
Yeah. So
About
think about
time.
that when we just run through, right? It's nothing
Mhm.
we don't know, but just gives you a grasp of the ag
I
sector
didn't know
companies,
that.
how
And
they're
I
hurting.
sit here all day and watch stuff and see stuff, and it's moving really fast.
Absolutely.
One of the things I say, and it sounds like a smart aleck thing, I always say it on Scott the Cow Guy or RFD TV, is they never email you before it's over. It just kind of happens, right? And
Sure.
and and from my phones, and we welcome a call. Give us a call, 1-855-737-FARM, info@ATI Pro Media. We have a bunch of new accounts onboarding, but we're only starting from where we are today. We don't get to go back and fix, there's a service out there, several services. You texted us yesterday about one service that still has 30-40% of their corn left, and just recommended to sell some more. And pretty famous, popular, uh, 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 good service, but not so good last year. But when you pay $30 a month, 50, 60, 100, 200, they don't write you a check when they're wrong. And Dave Fogel always says it. He says, be careful taking advice from people who have day jobs. That includes us. That includes everyone else. What I look at this show for is not advice. It's experience and real-time news. We always tell you we're going to give you today's news today. We're going to talk about what's happening right here. We could literally go an hour easily today with what's happening in these markets. We haven't even touched cattle. The NASDAQ's now down 600. The Dow's down 600. It's
No.
Friday. These markets are going to go home nervous, and the farmers should be nervous too, because
Sure.
I'm watching an unwinding here that's pretty big. Feeders are down 500. That's a big one.
Well, let's get into it, right? The news, and I think I'm going to start with what I think is the main headline. Reading my mind there, Rick. The 114,000 jobs was lowest level added in 3 months. We missed on that unemployment rate, significantly higher rate, 4.3%. And I think, Tommy, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of what sparked this. Then you have that, and then couple that with the Japan with the Nikkei down. Right, they, as you said, they had the worst day since Black Monday.
Yeah. Real quick, just a little color. I went to bed early last night. I go to bed early all the time, but the NASDAQ was down like 100, 150. And then Zero Hedge said, like something like the words, like a little mini flash crash. And the NASDAQ went from down 100 to down 200, 300, 400 in a matter of very quickly. And I have charts ready. I do want to show you that risk off event that occurred last night around 9 o'clock. And it does not shock me at all that the cattle and the feeders are giving it up. It doesn't shock me at all. Grains are up. I'm not sure we'll be there at the end of the day. If we get the Dow down 1,000, 1,200, people might say, I'm out, I'm cashing out. But it's really serious what's going on. I'm usually not this serious. I'm usually joking around, ringing bells and stuff. This is, who did that? All right. This is really serious what's happening in the outside markets. I started trading in 1990. I was fortunate enough to have a seat at the board since 93. I've won, I've lost. I've seen a lot of markets. What's happening here today and yesterday is significant. Pay attention, folks. Send this show to a friend. I can't say that we're going to always tell you before it happens, but we can at least say, I smell smoke. There may be a fire. Maybe just a small electrical fire. Maybe we're burning the house down. Caution.
Add some color to that statement for me, Tommy. When you say it's significant, okay, let's say it is significant. When we look back on 2 months, what's going to be the headline, right? Is it going to be that did it start in Japan with the Nikkei down so significantly? Is that going to be kind of the headline grabber, I guess?
Yeah, a little color to it. And I learned this from Scott, the cow guy, yesterday, kind of watching him say some stuff. The Fed had a meeting and they pretty much said, we need to lower rates. We got to lower rates. We're going to lower rates. But they said it so much. Everyone's like, why are you waiting 6 weeks? And I think the market's kind of punishing them for a poor decision in, we know you're going to lower it. We think about this. We came in to December with the 10-year at 385. And then we rallied all the way up to the 5s. We're at 385 again. But the stock market is thousands and thousands and thousands of points higher than that. And so we're seeing a big unwinding here. And I think it's a significant day that Japan raised rates. The rest of the world's lowering rates. And you think, oh, lowering rates, that's better for the economy. Everyone's wanted rates to come down for a long time. But as they come down, it's signaling that you're going to hear the word stagflation a lot. And we still have inflation in a deflating economy. Hence the campers, the boats, the John Deere equipment, the price of commodities. I didn't send it to you, but there was a month in review, like the Bloomberg Commodity Index. Mm-hmm. And when you look at that chart, there was 3 or 4 commodities up top that were green, like cocoa and, your normal cuckoo ones that like to go off the rails. But if there's 30 commodities on this thing, 4 were up and 26 were down, and some of them were significant. You add that Intel's down 27% today. I thought Intel was cheap when it was $50 a few years ago, then 40, then 30. Then you see NVIDIA absolutely on fire. And you're like, well, if NVIDIA's on fire, then Intel has to be on fire. And I just want to get real quick, it's down 30%, folks. That quote that we popped out there, down 27%. Intel's down 30%. That was at one point one of the greatest tech chip companies in history. When you see, well, let's go this way. You're a smart guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't mean to say it, huh?
Okay.
Jury's out there.
Yeah. If I told you corn was down 30% today, can you do that math? Every percent is 4 cents, right?
If corn was down 30%, it would be down over 90. It'd be down $1.
$1.20. $1.10. Yeah, $1.10, $1.20. Right. So 4 times 3. I got my shoes off. We're at $1.20.
These corn would be down $1.20. Yep.
Okay. All right, that's why I'm saying this is serious. Intel's down
Right.
30%. That's equivalent to corn being down $1.20. If corn dropped $1.20 today, and now do that number with a $10 bean, if $10 beans were down 30%, what price would we be? This would be a huge, big deal. That's what's happening in the stock market. Back to you.
Yeah, well said. And you mentioned the Fed meetings. They said they're going to lower rates. Brother Joe popped out about the Fed Watch tool. Right now, we've got a 70% chance of
And
a.
just for reference, he's not a priest. He's actually my brother.
I just call him Brother Joe too. He's like a
I
brother
like
to
that.
me.
Everyone should have a brother Joe, as Jack H likes to say.
50 basis points cut at the September meeting, right? They were, correct if I'm wrong, Tommy, 100% chance of a 25 basis cut. So it just keeps getting a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm. I can give you a scenario where the stock market crashes in the next few weeks and the Fed lowers a point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they don't need a meeting to do it. Remember, during the pandemic, the Fed lowered on a Sunday night at 4 o'clock before the markets open. So if we go into a liquidity problem, which we're not there yet, but we're starting for sure. Dow down 700, NASDAQ down 600, S&P down 135. You're going to see some wild stuff happen here if this continues.
Yeah. So what we got here, Joe? Second largest U.S. oil company, Chevron, moving out of California to Texas. I don't know, but I got to think they were headquartered in California for probably a long time, don't you think, Tommy?
Yeah, I'm not an expert on the oil companies. I definitely understand the price of gas when I go get it, but that's big business. And when big business like that is moving out, that feels very Elon Musk-ish, that they were here and now they're there. There's things that are happening politically. You could see it, whether it be, I don't even want to touch some of the subjects, but there's things that are happening that the best way we tend to vote in November. We each get a vote, but large companies get to vote with their wallet and a board of directors, and they get to make decisions and say, okay, if you're going to be that way, we're going to go this way. And you're still seeing this massive shift 4 years after a couple weeks to fix everything taken off. We're now things have went so far one way or not changed back or adjusted that major corporations are moving to Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee. You see it when you drive up and down I-65. Texas, you're seeing Florida still expand, Florida exploding. You're seeing a lot of people not exactly happy with how some things are going in Minnesota some days. And there's just a lot of people saying, you know what? Some people can move their business, and some people's business is so physical. You know, if you have a pizza restaurant in downtown Minneapolis, you can't say, we're moving it to Florida. I mean, you could, but your clientele has been going to that restaurant in that city for 50
Right.
years. You would have to.
Locally, we saw it with ADM back in 2014, right? They were headquartered in Decatur, Illinois, 30 minutes from me. They moved headquarters to Chicago, right? But what's that mean is they moved the executive to Chicago. You've still got one of the world's largest corn plants sitting in Decatur, Illinois. That's where the jobs are going to be.
Yeah, a buddy of mine actually helped them get the real estate for that deal, and he, well, anyway, put all his kids through college. So, congratulations to him.
Great for him.
Yeah, good for him. All right, what can we do to help people who are faithful watchers, listeners, whatever? We've got some good stuff coming down the pipe here.
Yeah, well, talk about premium yesterday. You had Cale Carlson on.
Yeah, Cale talked about some good stuff, Nebraska. If you're a premium subscriber, please listen this to the end. If you're not a premium subscriber, I want you to watch this anyway. Email me at info@ATI Pro Media. Cale, the most important part of the show is Cale talked about mental health at the end, and he's done some things in his personal life that he's not afraid, embarrassed, or shy about talking about. And we talked about mental health and just getting ready for harvest, because harvest is a time where you really get tired and you stretch what you can do, and then you figure you're harvesting a 350 corn crop and a 950 bean crop that could wear at a fella. And so we talk about his young kids and how they're getting into farming. If you know Cale, you probably know his daughter Laura Farms, wildly successful, by far the number one most popular female ag influencer out there, and a wonderful person, I can say that. But Cale talked about mental health, and I think we're going to be doing a lot. I think half the reason some people watch this show is just to just be, we all work. Scott always says, Scott the cow guy, he's like, Tom Grasaffi's in his parents' basement, but I am in my basement, not my parents. They're down the street. But we sometimes work by ourselves, and we can get locked up, frozen up. We need that call, that tap on the shoulder. I actually have a client who went to a funeral the other day of someone who taken their own life, and nobody had a clue. Nobody had a clue there was anything going on mentally, and this youngster just went to a bad place. And so we need to make sure that even if it's us, just if we could help one person, we could do that. And I think Kale's willing to do that. So if you want to watch that video, give us an email, info@ATI Pro Media. We'll send that out. And that's what we do. I mean, the premium stuff, actionable text. We're sending out that email at 5:30 in the morning. We're texting people. We're putting out the premium content. That's all for $1 a day. If you think that'll help you in this down period, sign up for it. I could tell you signed up for a bunch of other stuff that made you bullish, and it sure as heck didn't help you. All right, back to you.
Yeah. Well said. I say let's get into some charts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Show us that overnight on the what do you say? It was on the NASDAQ.
NASDAQ, yeah, let's go NASDAQ.
Yeah, give us some color.
Yeah, so let's go NASDAQ. We're popping that up, and let's go like hourly, okay?
Sure.
And you, without me even telling you, you'll be able to see when it happened. And I would believe that would be right about August 1st. We got to go here, and then it just starts to happen. You know, we just lose it, and just lost it. Let me go. I want to break that down a little bit.
Go.
It really happened at 10:30 at night last night. I want you to see how. Is that right here? Yeah, because it was still August 1st. Okay, I'm getting my dates screwed up. So this was last night. It was still August 1st.
Okay,
and then this is when it happened right here. Risk off, steady overnight. Okay, and then we had unemployment number, and it's just ugly.
And that overnight, right? That's going to be following the Nikkei index, right? That it's reactionary off that, correct?
Oh yeah. I mean, it just happened like quickly. And so when I tell you they're never going to email you before it happens, let's look at a daily of this to show you how much we've went up in the NASDAQ. We're still at great levels. So let's bring it down to like a monthly, just so you don't think like, oh, they said the stock market's crashing. It's not crashing. It's correcting quickly is the way I would describe it.
Pulling back, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's had a heck of a run. I mean, right. if you look at a weekly, I mean, this thing's been doing nothing but going up. We're still massively above the moving averages, okay? But to say money's coming out of stocks and going to other places, it doesn't surprise me. Grains up. Remember when I told you when we started the show, wouldn't surprise me at all if corn gave it up for the day. Corn's only up a penny and a half now, so right. Wouldn't be surprised if they just flushed the toilet on everything. Right. Now, real quick, bond market. This is important. 10-year. Turn on any business channel in the world, and you'll see that the 10-year has absolutely exploded. When I say 10 years have exploded, this is what I'm talking about here. And we go. Remember, I said just a little bit ago, 10 years are at exactly the level they were at Christmas. That's what they're doing here. So we've round tripped it here. We were all the way back in Christmas. We were here. And now 10-year yields are actually lower than that because we went to like 3.85, and the stock market is massively higher than where the 10-year was here. And that's why you're seeing you're seeing a rotation like I've never seen here in people, a flight to quality, as they call it, to the bond market.
Sure.
You're seeing stocks down, bonds up. This is a true flight to quality. Gold up 30, Bitcoin up. I don't know why copper's up or anything else, but interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, great. It tells a great story because back in December, right, we were predicting how many rate cuts for 2024. Was it 4 or 5, or was it more than that?
Oh yeah. And in the end, we still might get 3 now. It's just the timing of the rate cut changed, right?
Yeah. It's crazy to say because 2 months ago we were talking about, are we going to get a rate cut for 2024? So that's why we go live, because the story changes
every day. I'd be the most miserable person in the world if I planned the show at night and then let you see it today. And then knowing that these markets have, if you write a show at night and do it during the day, by the time you do it, it's old news. And so this is today's news today. By the way, corn's going to be unchanged by the time we get done with this show. So let's keep going here. Hope that's not what you wanted to hear, but at least I give you a little hint that might happen. As they flush the toilet in the outside markets. Any other charts you want to see? I think it's really important. B-Huck's not on the stage, but I think it's really important to show feeder cattle.
Sure.
Go ahead and pop that up on the daily here. They've really gotten loose here, looking at the most active feeder cattle. This is that big debacle that happened in the beginning of the year. Then we rallied up. Everyone's, cash on the highs. Yeah, but like I said, buy your LRP, buy your puts. have that floor because you never know when this is going to happen. And this is going to happen just happened. And now feeders are down. I repeat, 700 in feeders approaching a limit. So, yeah, Adult Swim only, kids.
Well said. Yeah, corn is going to close. We might have to end the show because corn is going to close unchanged. Soybeans still hanging in there. I don't know any other charts we need to look at. I mean, we know what the corn and soybean chart says, right? I mean,
yeah, if you're out there, you know what? Go put on the Bloomberg channel, CNBC, kind of watch the bottom of the ticker. It does some things. PJ's sending me some emails. It'd be interesting to see. Let's talk a little bit more about premium. We're going to have the land talker on. I don't know, today or this weekend. We're going to have Don Wick on this weekend. I'm going to record quite a bunch of things here the next few days. We'll get those all out. I'll be traveling next week. We'll still be getting the premium out. I think you'll be seeing more of Connor and Brady hosting next week. I have some summer travels and business to take care of. With that, anything else you want to talk about? Let's get into questions, comments. A little surprise questions and comments aren't coming in like they normally are.
Take a shot of something corn-based whenever you hear contract close. If that was the case, Luke, I'd be drunk at work almost every day this week. So,
Luke, I haven't drank in 4 weeks, and it's just a dirty shame because I got a beautiful bourbon collection here that's just sitting here wasted. But don't give up. No one likes a quitter. I may be back. All right. Kale is one of the best farmers on the platform, and that has nothing to do with his operation. Yeah, I don't even know if the guy grows a bushel, but as a personality, he's just wonderful. He loves production ag. He loves his family. He loves agriculture, and he's a good friend and a good friend of ATI and ATI Pro Media. Thanks for that, Ash.
Awesome.
Questions, comments? It's a nasty day in markets. What do you say we give away a flag if you're out there in flag land? This is not announcing that there's an election coming up. This is saying we're giving a free, beautiful flag. Email us info@ATI Pro Media or give us a call 1-855-737-FARM. Tommy Grisafi, Valparaiso, Indiana. Connor B. I do want to go over the headlines one more time.
Sure.
Because this is a big deal. We got breaking news. Corn up a penny, soybeans up 10, outside markets, wheat's up a little bit. The breaking news, ring the bell. Live cattle down 200. Are you sitting down? Feeders down 700. Bond markets exploding. Dow Jones down 700, NASDAQ down 500, S&P's down. We got breaking news. Get it together, folks. If you're worried, questions, comments, need risk management, give us a call. Futures brokers, options brokers, LRP. Stage is yours. Connor B, finisher up.
I was just going to say things we should be looking at for next week in the ag space. We're going to be talking about that USDA report that comes out on Monday. It's the time of year where we're going to be seeing a lot of local crop scouting. Pro Farmer Tour is what, Tommy? I think that's the end of August. We still got a couple weeks, but it's going to be that time frame. We're going to be debating the yield, right? We're going to be debating what's the USDA going to say in acreage. Are they going to reduce it because of the flooding, right? But it feels like the story next week might be, are we paying attention to outside markets? What's the NASDAQ going to do? Is the Nikkei going to rally? Are we going to see a rough open Monday? How's it going to close this week? What else are we looking for?
That's it. Let's wrap it up. We just did a 33-minute show. It was free. We didn't have a single commercial break. We promoted the heck out of ourselves, but we might as well. This show isn't currently paid for or sponsored by anyone else but Advanced Trading and the brokers who provide the content daily. We hope we added value to you, your farm. We really ask you to subscribe to ATI Pro Media Premium. And with that, Gina G is going to close her up. Connor B, I got a feeling Tommy G will be live on Sunday night, buddy.
Have a good one.
Thanks for joining us. We're here every day, 9 a.m. Central. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.